Have you ever wondered what Russia's favorite drink is? If you're like most people, vodka might come to mind. But what if I told you there was a time when another milder beverage captured the hearts of the Soviet Union? It's a story that involves an unexpected business deal, military vehicles, and a global soda rivalry. So, buckle up, because this is one of the craziest tales in the world of soft drinks. The whole thing began at the American National Exhibit in Moscow in 1959. President Richard Nixon and Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev got into a big argument about capitalism and communism. It's famously known as the kitchen debate. To lighten the mood, Donald Kendall, the boss of Pepsi's international team, suggested that Nixon share some Pepsi with Khrushchev as a taste of what capitalism could offer. Khrushchev really liked it from the first sip and told his friends to try it too. It was like love at first sip for him. Kendall took a chance by bringing Pepsi to the American National Exhibit. Some important people did not think it was a good idea and believed it was a waste of time and money. Kendall wanted to make sure he didn't look bad, so he told Nixon that he really needed to get Khrushchev to try Pepsi. Surprisingly, Kendall's risky move worked. The good publicity from the exhibit helped him become the CEO of Pepsi in 1963. Now that he was in charge, Kendall really wanted to make sure that delicious sugary drink, Pepsi, made its way to the Soviet Union. Even though Khrushchev loved Pepsi right away, it took many years and a lot of talking before everyone in Russia could enjoy a Pepsi together in 1972. Getting Pepsi into Russia wasn't easy because the Russian money couldn't be used outside the country. They had to use old-fashioned trading to make a deal. For every bottle of Pepsi sold in Russia, they gave Pepsi the same amount of Stolichnya vodka to sell in the US. While Russians loved drinking the American treat, Pepsi became famous for being the first capitalist product to get through the Iron Curtain. By the late 1980s, Pepsi realized that Russians drank a lot more soda than Americans. Also, because many Americans were against the Soviet-Afghan War, Pepsi wasn't selling well in the US. This left Pepsi with too much vodka and not enough money. Since Russia couldn't use its money outside the country, and vodka was no longer an option, they needed a new plan to satisfy their love for soda. The crazy idea they came up with was using their surplus military vehicles to make sure they could keep drinking Pepsi. In a strange agreement in 1989, Russia sold Pepsi 17 submarines, a frigate, a cruiser, and a destroyer, just to keep their people drinking soda. With all these military vehicles, Pepsi indirectly became the sixth largest naval fleet in the world. But their control over the naval fleet didn't last long. Instead of using the newly acquired but outdated ships to take their intense battle with Coca-Cola from store shelves to the seas, Pepsi chose to sell the fleet as scrap metal. Kendall knew it was kind of funny that Russia was giving a US company a military fleet. He even joked with National Security Advisor Brain Scowcroft that he was disarming the Soviet Union faster than you are. 1 year later, Kendall set up the deal of the century. In this deal, the USSR agreed to build 10 oil tankers for Pepsi in exchange for $3 billion worth of Pepsi. Sadly, when the Soviet Union fell in 1991, it became much harder for Pepsi to do business in Russia. Kendall had a tough time making new deals with the newly independent republics. The changing borders also split up the important parts of Pepsi's business. They were making their oil tankers in Ukraine, who wanted some of the money from selling the American soda, and their bottling plant was in Belarus. Pepsi's business in Russia eventually fell apart like a soda can that's been shaken too much. Pepsi's happy days in Russia are over, especially because Coca-Cola became really liked in the country during the Moscow Olympic Games in 1980. However, Pepsi can still remember the short time when they were the most liked soda in Russia and the most powerful soda company in the world, even if it was just for a short time. And there you have it. A roller coaster tale of soda diplomacy, military bargains, and the rise and fall of Pepsi's influence in Russia. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.